All right, guys. Well, welcome. Turn your volume all the way down on your phone, Dan. I'm getting feedback.
All right. 1 second. I'm all the way down as low as you can go.
Better.
Let's turn it down here.
Okay, good. All right, awesome. So welcome, guys. I am here with my main man, Dan Zitofsky, and we're going to be, our ultimate goal was to bring you a lot of value in your real estate business with this show. And I wanted to bring on some people that I highly respect in this industry, and Dan is one of those guys. And he's going to be able to talk to you today about some of his great expertise in real estate, things he can share with you, strategies that you can actually use and duplicate. He's not a guru that's trying to, just be out there hustling people out of their money. He's actually somebody that's done the work. All right. And that's why I wanted to have him be my first guest. So Dan, I hope you're ready for this introduction, because this might be a little bit of like, this is your life. So
ready.
Just hold on tight and we'll get through it. So Dan is one of the most respected people I know in this industry. He's a national speaker. He's done over 800 fix and flip deals. He owns over 650 passive income rentals, 800 plus doors in multifamily projects. He's done over 1,000 private money and non-performing note transactions. He's a veteran and a former New York City police officer. He's run for political office because he genuinely cares about helping others. He's an author of a book called Passive to Prosperous that you can pick up in the show notes, and I'll be putting in the comments section. He personally coaches investors at all levels, and he's had an online training series on creating true passive wealth that we'll talk more about here today. And to top all that off, he's the foremost authority on pizza. So if you are traveling, you want to know a good pizza spot, this is the guy to talk to. So Dan, thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited to have you on the show. And I think you're going to bring a tremendous amount of value today. And I'm really excited to talk to you now.
Well, thanks for having me on, Ben. I really appreciate it. And I feel the same way about you. I really value what you're doing. That's why I look forward to being on the show with you and seeing how you've grown this business yourself, doing it the right way from start to finish. It's just a pleasure, knowing you and being part of your network.
I appreciate that. So, I've heard you speak at several events, and I've actually heard you be interviewed. And today I want to dive like a little bit deeper than what I've heard from you in the past. And what I mean by that is I want to get like into the history of Dan Zitofsky, like start back with, I read your book, which is fantastic, by the way. If you haven't read it, you should pick it up. It's a great, not only, like a little bit of a cautionary tale. There you go. The cautionary tale of what not to do in investing. Like Dan, kind of rebirthed he was reborn as an investor, as he'll talk about a little bit here, kind of changing his ways to meet the needs of his family and all of that. But also there's like really practical information that you can use in there, practical information that helped me tremendously. I've been fortunate enough to sit down with Dan one-on-one, and the information I've gotten from him has helped me tremendously in my business. But I want to go back, like I said. So take me back to your time. I know you're a veteran. Thank you so much for your service. You started out in the Navy, just a 19-year-old kid. Take me back to 19-year-old Danny Zitofsky. How did you get big real estate dreams at that point, or were you even visioning where you are now when you're 19 years old serving our country?
I really had no clue. Back when I was a kid, my parents, it was a really tough upbringing. I had parents that my father worked hard just to pay the bills. My mother really took off on us and wasn't there. So my father was so busy working to pay the bills, 2 or 3 jobs. By the time I was a teenager, I was really on my own, not paying my own mortgage. But if I wanted to buy clothes or I wanted to get a haircut or anything like that, I had to work from the time I was 10 years old, delivering newspapers. At 14, I'd work in papers and get a job. But I had my grandfather, who was really like my role model. My grandfather, European guy, came over to this country with no money and started building up his business, working really hard. And the one thing I loved about him is his entrepreneurial spirit. So he didn't hand me anything, but what he did is he taught me hard work and he taught me real estate. So kind of showed me, he bought apartment buildings, nothing humongous, but apartment buildings in New York. And I used to go with him and talk and ask questions. And I found it very amazing on how this worked. And I started asking questions at a young age. Well, that these people are going to pay you rent and that covers your mortgage and they pay you to live in a house that you own. I thought that was really cool. So I wound up having to go to the Navy because in high school, I wanted to play, obviously, college football. I wound up getting hurt. Went to college for 1 year, getting hurt, and had a situation where my father had a girlfriend move in the house and bought my mother out of the house, and she, for no reason, threw me out of the house. So an 18-year-old kid, really with nothing else to do, no way to pay the bills. I had nowhere else to turn, but I said, what am I going to do? And I didn't want to live off anybody else, and I wanted to be responsible for myself. And I said, I'm going to join the Navy. And at that point, I still remember like it was yesterday. My father told me, he says, you join the Navy, you'll never finish school. Put that in my head. And you'll be nothing, and you're going to be a loser, and all this stuff that, parents shouldn't be saying to their kids. And I swore at that point, I says, I'm going to show this. I'm going to show them. It was always, I'm going to show them. I'm going to prove them wrong. And I always thought that making money, because we didn't have money growing up, was me being successful. So I went into the Navy at that point, and had saved some money before that, used credit cards, and wound up buying, while I was in the Navy, wound up buying my first condominium. And in the Navy, I think I was an E1, I was a real low rank enlisted person, making like $248 every 2 weeks. I think that was the number, because we looked it up recently. And at that point, I was 19 years old at a boot camp. I couldn't go out and drink with the 21-year-olds. I really couldn't do anything except work out and hang out, maybe go to a movie, maybe a sporting event. So I had all this money. And I had bought a property, and the property was netting me $600 a month. So think about this. I'm busting my butt in the Navy, getting paid almost $250 every 2 weeks, right over $500 a month. And I'm sitting there netting $600 a month on a condominium I bought, doing absolutely nothing. So I learned real quick at that point. I said, wow, there's something to this. And also I caught the bug about being in the bank at that point, because like I said, I was under 21. I couldn't go out and spend my money. I had nothing to spend my money on, because we had housing, we had food, we had benefits. We didn't have anything to spend our money on. If you weren't 21, you could go out and drink. So what I did is I started lending money out to people in the Navy. Right at that point, I started almost becoming like a loan shark. Probably shouldn't even say that, but I'm lending money out to these people because I have all this money and they're paying me back plus interest at that time. So when I got out of the Navy, I just started. Same thing. I came out. I was trying to get a job, and I realized at that point I had equity in this house. What do I do? How do I get $600 or $400? Over and over and over again? What do I do? How do I do that? I can't sit there and save enough money to actually get those properties. So what I did is I started using the equity in the properties, and I started building equity out and just leveraging myself to buy more and more properties. And then it just grew from there.
That's awesome. So you said your grandfather was a big influence. I mean, was he involved in real estate at all?
He was. He actually owned a couple multifamily properties, not a ton. I think he owned 2 buildings, and one of them was 14 units, and one was like 20-something units in New York. But I got the concept of what he was doing. He was working hard. He was a furrier. He worked with his hands. He didn't drive. He would take the train and the bus to Manhattan, and he would work his butt off to pay the bills. But he would invest that money in real estate. And thank God he did, because my grandmother just recently passed away a few months ago, and at 92 years old, and her Social Security was under $600 a month. That's what a Social Security check was. But she would have never been able to live if my grandfather didn't do this for her. Put all his money in real estate and create wealth. So he built it on a very basic level, creating wealth. But what I got the concept of, I always remembered that he always told me, he said, when you have a building and you do it right and you have tenants, they will pay down your mortgage for you and create wealth for you. And that's kind of what I always remembered. And I would go with him sometimes to collect rent, and I would kind of ask him questions. And I was really enamored with his real estate business, on how somebody else would pay your mortgage for you and create wealth for you. And now you can start generating tax benefits. I didn't understand the tax benefits at the time. I just loved the fact that he was picking up money from people that live in his house. As a little kid, that's what I remembered.
Yeah. Yeah, you're really fortunate, because, I mean, a lot of people don't have that kind of influence in their life. And I mean, especially, I don't want to date us, but, when we were back then, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook, stuff like that. So there just wasn't a huge opportunity to learn stuff unless you knew someone, or you were fortunate enough to, maybe there was a course that came around town, the guys that used to sell like the tapes, the cassette tapes and whatnot. So
I was just talking about that. I was just talking about Carlton Sheets and Russ Whitney back in the day. Carlton Sheets was my first company I ever went to go hear speak. I think I was 17 or 18 when I heard him, and then followed that with Russ Whitney back in the day. And I was just, I mean, I was just hooked. And I was like, you know what? When everybody else said, oh, you can't buy houses with no money down, I bought my first condo essentially with some birthday money. But I was a little crazy, and I don't recommend people doing this, but I used credit cards to buy my first deal. But I'm really good about, I'm really conservative and strict about paying a certain amount down so I don't pay interest. But when everybody else said you can't do it, I always went out and did it. Like they said I wouldn't finish college, going to the Navy, I finished it start to finish in 2 years while working 60 hours full time in the Navy as a corpsman. So yeah, I've always been a type when people say you can't do something, I'm going to find a way to get it done.
That's awesome, man. I know I've had a bunch of family and friends that have served, and most of them, they don't come out with assets, So and I've heard of stories of people like you before, the guys that were actually smart with their money. They would stay, especially guys in the Navy, because they're going, to different ports if they're on a ship. And they're like, hey, if I got to stay on this ship and there's nothing I can do when I go off the port, I might as well just lend out some money and get some money back.
Right. Well, I just didn't want to come out and live the life I've been living for my whole life. Like we didn't have, whether my parents had it or not, we didn't get any. We didn't go out to dinners. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't do anything. We literally couldn't. If I wanted to go to the movies with my friends, I had to go out and save my own money to go. My parents weren't handing me $20 to go out to the movies with my friends. And I didn't want, I don't want to come out of the Navy with a wife and a daughter at the time and live that life anymore. I lived a tough life. Like there's people that live tougher than me. There's people that lived easier than me. But I knew I didn't want that life anymore, where a household with no money, really no love in the household. I wanted to be there I didn't want to have to work 3-4 jobs to actually make ends meet and never be there for my kids. And that's what I thought was success back then. That led into where I became later in life as a real estate investor. I thought success was, hey, I need to have money. If I have money, I'm going to be happy. And that's where I went wrong for 20 years in the business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And I've seen people commenting that they've used credit cards to buy multifamily or whatever. The idea is if the numbers make sense and you can make it work where it's cash flow and it's not costing you money, you can do whatever it takes to make it happen. So, and that's really an awesome story. I love it.
Or you can go out there and learn how to raise money the right way. Which was one of the things we really teach and educate is how to raise money. If you can learn how to raise money the right way, sky's the limit in this business. They didn't have this back then when I was coming through. We didn't have guys like me teaching how to raise money, how to create wealth. It was, go out and raise money, but nobody taught you the steps. So when you go to an event, you learn, hey, you have to raise money, but nobody actually teaches the steps 1 through, A through Z on how to actually raise that money. What do I do now? Okay, great. I know I have to raise money. Sounds good. Do I beg people for it? How do I do it? And that's why we finally put together what we do and how we've raised over $30 million of new money and probably a couple $100 million of reutilizing that money. How did we do it? We do it by learning how to raise money the right way. And that's so important. I tell people all the time, we are hard money lenders too. We'll lend out money to people. But to do the business the way we do it, you're never going to get to where you need to be if you keep using hard money. It's just, or partnering with people. It becomes very disadvantageous to do that economically. You have to learn how to raise money the right way if you really want to grow your business to create true passive wealth.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Dan, can you try muting the speaker on your computer?
Oh, sure.
We're getting a little bit of an echo. See if that helps.
Well, if I do it on my computer, I won't hear you.
No, we'll still be able to hear. It's just the sound. Yeah. You'll hear me through your phone on the Instagram. That won't. You can turn that on.
Let me hold on.
Right.
Let me do this. Increase my speaker on my phone.
Let's see if that's better. Ah, yes, much better.
Okay, perfect.
So the bottom line is there's no big secret like society handshake that gets you into being an investor, right? At the end of the day, it just comes down to having some balls, for lack of a better word, and then getting over the fear of failure and taking massive amounts of action. You're in a position where you get off that boat in the Navy at the end of 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. What's it going to be? So you knew there was actually no other route to go. You had to start working for yourself at the age of 19. I only wish I would have done that. So if you're young and you're watching this, know that there is no such thing as being too young to get started if you're willing to do whatever it takes.
Right.
So,
it's just one is believing in yourself. I tell people you have to believe in yourself. You have to educate yourself with a mentor. I wish there was somebody like me or you when I was 19 years old, 18 years old. I might not even gone into the Navy or became a police officer, right? If I had somebody like that. I mean, my grandfather was doing it, but he wasn't able to teach me the business. I wish I had somebody like us to teach us, this is step 1, 2, and 3, and 4, how you do it. And then the last thing you need to do is take action. Be serious and take action. That's the biggest thing, is that taking action part. I see it all the time because we speak at all these events. I do all these interviews. And every time I'm at an event, I look at the room and I'm like, well, people are here wasting their Saturday or Sunday coming to an event, hearing us speak because they want to do something better. We give them opportunities to do something better, and then they don't, only 10 to 20% of the people in the room actually take action. And then even those people that take action and get into some kind of training that we give it away from like next to nothing, just to get in everyone's hands, people actually buy it and then they don't watch the training, so they don't take action. And you've put out that your whole business has changed after just learning how to raise money the right way. You don't have to now take on partners as much anymore. You now can raise money and actually buy a lot bigger portfolios for yourself and pay people back at a general interest rate that makes sense, rather than giving somebody 50% of their profits. And that changes your whole business model around. I mean, it just completely changes your business model around. But, it kills me. But I tell people, I said, you're not going to take action on something you believe in, and don't even waste your time showing up to an event, because if you have nothing better to do on a Saturday or Sunday, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow your business. So in your mindset, you have to believe you can do it. It can be done. And you have to find somebody that you believe that's doing it right now. And that's what we are. We are, and you, like the same thing. We're doing this business. Our business is not education. Our business is creating passive wealth, taking down a ton of, non-performing assets from banks, whether it's notes, REOs, tax liens, or even distressed sellers, turning those into turnkey rentals and either selling for cash or selling finance and becoming the bank. And we do it every day. How do we do it? Is we raise money. And there's only so much money we have to buy these assets. We have to raise money from our investors. And our investors really like working with us because we have a long-standing history with them of paying them back, doing what we say we're going to do, taking care of them first before we ever make a dollar. And that's how we build our business. A lot of people in this business, it's like, hey, we'll try real estate investing because that's what HGTV has on TV. And they say it's great. You'll make all this money. And when it doesn't work the way it says, we're out. We're into the next thing. And it's that shiny object syndrome. And people just don't want to take action, put the work in, don't think it's a get-rich-quick scheme, and expect to screw up. Expect to screw up. And it's okay. Because as you screw up, it's how you learn. There's going to be roadblocks. You have to expect that. So when that happens, you can't get upset and quit. If you quit on this, you're quitting on life. You're going to quit on everything.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, I'm guilty of having gone through a course and done nothing with it. The difference is that at some point you're going to run up to this line where you have to accept life as it is, or say, I'm not taking this crap anymore. I'm going to go all in, right? So you have to put yourself in a position where you've got nothing to lose. That is the best spot you can put yourself in, because even if you fail, like exactly like you said, you're going to learn something, take that away, and take it back and get even better into your business. So, right on. So you stay in this country in the Navy, and then you get out. Is this the point when you join the NYPD?
No, I tried for 2 years. I got my degree in healthcare management. I was a pre-med student, and I want to get my degree in healthcare management. I tried like crazy to get a job in the field. And for 2 years, I was taking jobs, contract jobs with the city, and constantly threatening to cancel the contracts. So I was worried about having a family, a wife, a daughter at the time, a 2-year-old daughter at the time. I said, I need something secure, right? Because I can go out and do my real estate, but I need something secure at the time, like a lot of people feel. So after 2 years, I really couldn't go out and buy a house because I just didn't feel secure enough to do that. So I told my wife, I said, I'm going to join the police department. And I said, I have no interest in being a police officer. I'm doing it just till I don't have to do it anymore. And I worked my butt off. Not only was I a police officer, I had a mortgage brokerage that I opened, and I was doing real estate. So I was working my butt off. But my goal was, I said, I never wanted to have happen to my kids what happened to me. It was always against that. I said, I'm going to do this. If we're going to have kids, I told my wife, I said, I want you to be raising them. She agreed. She wanted to raise my kids. And I said, if that's the case, I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And I said, I'm going to join the police department just so I don't have to be a cop anymore. And my goal was to get out of that as soon as I possibly could. And I worked my butt off doing everything I possibly could do to build up my real estate business, which I did. As I was a cop, I was buying land in Arizona. I was optioning land to builders. I was also buying properties in Trenton, New Jersey. I was buying them direct from the city and distressed sellers and making them rental properties. I started buying properties, same thing, rentals in the worst parts of Philadelphia, so the low-end parts of Philadelphia. And I was building it up slowly. I was building my business slowly, getting knocked down, building it up, getting knocked down, and learning, and then going into fields that I really liked. And that's probably when I started flipping some properties here or there in New York. I would do maybe 1 or 2 a year in New York and getting the bug on flipping properties because, man, that was giving me some nice hits of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on the flip. So I started seeing that, and I'm like, well, top pay as a police officer was $50,000. Top pay as a sergeant was $60,000, and I could flip one property and make $50,000, $60,000. So the bug really started at that point for me. Like, hey, this flipping game is something pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you working with some other cops that were like seeing what you're doing and like, hey, can I get involved? Or is it like the usual where people are like, that's probably not going to work out. You know,
I had everyone and their mother tell me how crazy I was, but I have a funny story that happened with that. I don't know if I ever tell you the story, but I was actually, when I started doing really well, a couple of years, maybe 3, 4 years in the police department, I had just taken my sergeant's test. I passed. I was very high on the list, but I couldn't get promoted until I had 5 years on the job. That was the minimum. But I was still wanted a new cop. Think about it, New York City. I think I was making about 20. It started at $28,000 a year. I think by the time this happened, maybe I was at $35,000 a year. I have a 2-family house in New York. I have a wife who doesn't work. I have a kid. And I'm driving a brand new, at the time, Acura 3.5 RL. Right. So imagine what they thought about this cop making no money with a wife. Oh yeah. So I was investigated by Internal Affairs. They came in and they talked to me. I had a 3-hour investigation. They were investigating me. I didn't know this. I had a 3-hour interview with them. And by the end of the interview, they started asking me questions about what I was doing and how I'm doing it and how could I afford to pay this. By the end of the interview, it was more about me educating them on my business than them ever investigating me. And they loved it. They loved it. They were like, I cannot believe you're doing this. They said, how come more people aren't doing this? And we just started talking. So right away, it was I was on the take. I was ripping off drug dealers. I was, that's in their head must be what they thought.
Yeah.
It was a funny. It's one of the funniest stories. We still talk about it with my friends that are cops, that how I was investigating because I was successful. Like, you can't be successful if you're a cop. You have to live paycheck to paycheck. You have to get divorced. You have to become an alcoholic. You have to have no money for your bills. You have to have bad credit because every cop has that. So you have to be like every other cop. And that's the mindset that they have. The whole police department was like that. Very, very few of them, very few, I'm going to say less than 5% of police officers are actually able to live a decent life outside of the police department. A lot of them work 20 years, they retire, and then become security guards because they can't afford to live. So they couldn't live on full pay, so how are you going to live on half pay? And I always, in my head, I never want. It was always like, what don't I want? How am I going to get around that?
That's awesome. So here you are, you're a police officer in New York, you're running a mortgage brokerage business, you're investing, and then boom, 9/11 happens. And so you've lost friends, you've gone through that terrible experience, and you're the only person I know personally that's gone through that experience in a way that most Americans didn't. What did you take away from that incredibly terrible time that served you in your life in the last 17 years? Like, you're going through this, you think, all right, I'm working this job until I can get out of here and fully provide for my family, full on in real estate. And now you're in the suck of it, right? Like, it's just hell on earth. And so take me back to that point, and then how long did you remain with the department after that?
Well, that's a very somber moment. Literally slow motion is what happened that day. I was in the second building. When the first building got hit, we went right in the second building to evacuate people. We didn't even know it was a terrorist attack. The first building came down before I came out of the second building. So when I came out of the second building, it was literally like white in front of my face. I couldn't even see anything because of all the dust and powder.
Yeah.
I got out of it, and everything was like, and when I say slow motion, it was slow motion. And I realized at the point, like, I could be dead right now. I didn't know if I was alive. I didn't know if I was dead. And this is not a joke. This is not some movie story. This is like, I didn't know what in the world. You don't know what's happening. You're scared. You don't know what's going to happen next. And I decided at that point, I'm like, I could be dead. All these things I planned for. And the one thing I keep going back to my grandfather is he always used to tell me, he says, and I still say to this day, he said, I'm really careful not to plan too much because they say you plan, God laughs. So I realized at that point, I said, what in the world am I waiting for? If I keep waiting, it'll never happen. I need out now. I need out now. I will make it work. And that's the thing. People are scared. And sometimes the people that are most successful are the ones that get fired from their jobs or whatever, they get laid off because they have no other choice but to be successful. And at that point, I told my wife, I said, I'm done. I literally put in my papers. I was there for 18 days straight. We didn't get to go home. I literally put in my papers right away, and they wouldn't let anyone off the job. If you could have just walked out, but you would get no kind of pension.
Right.
So it took me until May to get out, May of 2002 to get out. So, and I still remember when they opened up where you can actually, people with 20 years could retire. I was working one day, and we were doing something, and for a good amount of months, 5-6 months, everyone in the community loved police officers, firemen, and everything. We were the best. They would cheer for us. They loved us. And then you got to the point where we went back to the old way of we're going to hurt people. We're going to write summonses for no reason. We're going to do checkpoints just to accumulate money for the city. So it really got to the point where I'll tell you this, almost every cop out there is miserable. They hate their life. They hate their job. A lot of them don't even love their wives. They're miserable. And it got to the point where I started feeling like I'm hating my life again. And I still remember I asked for what they call lost time back then. When you just want to leave for the day early, you have vacation time.
Yeah.
And Sergeant, I told the lieutenant, I said, I'm done. I'm going to take lost time. I'm going to get out of here. He said, okay. And I got in my car, started driving home. I called my wife. I said, yeah, I'm done. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm done. Just like that. I'm like that. I'm done. It happened that day. I still remember it was May 14th and May 15th. I went in. I said, I'm done. I'm never going back. She's like, oh, you must have a bad day. Just, go through it. You'll be all fine. I said, nope, I'm done. Called the lieutenant. I told him the same thing. He's like, what are you talking about? I says, yeah, I'm done. I'm retiring tomorrow. And I don't think they believed it. And I went, and I actually went the next day to One Police Plaza. I turned in my gun, my shield. They gave me the retiree, ID, and I was done. And from that point on, I had no choice to make it work. And I'll tell you what, the next 6 months, I made more money in the next 6 months than I think I would have made for the rest of my career in the police department because I had to do it. I took action. And that's just how I've been is like, if I'm not happy with something, I'm going to make changes. I refuse to let myself ever go through what I went through as a kid where I'm not happy and I'm stuck in a situation. And that really was the start. So from 2002 on is where I really made that big change for myself.
Right on. Yeah, I think you can look back on that situation and say, all right, well, here's a horrible, horrible day. And the blessing that it gave you, just from what you're telling me, is urgency. Like saying, all right, well, tomorrow I make plans. It can all come to an end, so I better get working on it now. So
and you can learn this. This is not taught in school. And the problem is we're all taught this mentality in school, we have this limited mindset, right? We have these limited beliefs in ourselves that, we should be, we should go to school. We should get a job. We should go to school. We should get a job. We should make somebody else wealthy. We should work there till we're 65. Then we should get Social Security, let the government take care of us. We're taught that we shouldn't be any better than that. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. And it's we have kids, and I teach my kids a little differently, but that's just, nobody teaches you entrepreneurship in school. Nobody teaches you how to not live off the government. And that's what I don't want to do. I mean, I kind of lived, in a household where it was, money, it was money driven, and money driven was, we don't have it. It wasn't that we have money. It was like, we don't have money. We can't do this. We don't have money. We can't do this. And I didn't want my kids to ever grow up feeling the way I felt, the shame, the embarrassment, there's so much that went with it. The no love in the household, the parents that weren't around really. I swore that money would change that. And that's what I realized, it could, and it can't.
Yeah. So you become an investor full-time. You're at this point, all right, I got to make it. And what I really enjoyed about your book was not only the practical steps that you showed, but what I really enjoyed was how you talked openly and honestly in your book about how you were doing this business wrong for a good period of time, where it was costing you relationships with your family. Like you're just in the thick of it every single day. Most people don't realize, you become an entrepreneur or a real estate investor. It's a job. I mean, initially, when you're building a business, it is a job, and you could be in it 80, 90 hours a week. And no question. I mean, you're giving up the 40-hour grind to, become this entrepreneur and investor. What can you talk about exactly what it was you were doing wrong there and how ultimately you were able to kind of make those changes to benefit your family relationships?
Sure. Like I said, when I got out in 2002, so from about 2002 to maybe 2010, I was out there flipping. I was flipping like crazy. So I got to the point where I was so busy flipping, I even sold my mortgage brokerages in 2005. I was flipping probably 30 to 40 houses minimum a year, and I was netting no less than $50,000 per house. Most of the time, they were $70,000, $80,000 net flipping. I was making more money than I knew what to do with. But what I was doing is I was making multiple seven figures a year. And what I was doing is I was taking that money and I was doing everything wrong. And what I was doing with that money is I was chasing happiness. And happiness at that time meant for me all my sports cars, my boats, my watches. I have a watch collection that could choke most people. And that's what made me happy. It was like, you know what, I have money now. I grew up with no money. I was buying my wife anything she wanted, buying my kids whatever they wanted. My wife was driving around in a $70,000 truck 2 years later, buying it, just didn't even care, just bought a brand new one again. Didn't try to save money by buying a used one or anything. I was buying diamonds. I was going on vacations I still love, buying boats, buying watches. I mean, watches that more expensive than people's cars. It was stupid, but that was really, really shallow of me. And I was under the impression I was the best father in the world because I gave them everything that I never had as a kid. And then, fast forward, making multiple seven figures a year for a good 10 years. Fast forward, and I still remember it was yesterday, we're having a fight, and it came down to my wife just basically crippled me at the knees and just basically said, I thought I was being the best dad in the world. But it got to the point where we'd go on vacation. They'd have to take me to the Outer Banks where there was no cell signal, so I couldn't be on the phone. My uncle, my aunt got involved, and they took me where I couldn't talk to anybody. And I was miserable. I was there, but I was present, but I wasn't present. We'd go out to dinner on the weekends with our friends. I would be outside the restaurant talking to contractors and realtors and my team over and over again. I was working 100+ hours a week. And in my head, I was miserable because I thought I had to do this because I was taking care of my wife and my kids, who all they did was want stuff. And really, when you looked at it, my wife is the most non-materialistic person in the world. She just wanted time with me. And she basically said, you're going to lose up me. You're going to lose your kids. And I was like, what else can I do? We had a fight. And I was like, you are ungrateful. I'm busting my butt for you to give you all the stuff. And she just basically came out and said it. She goes, I don't want any of this. This is all you. You want this. And, and basically you're a horrible father. You think you're a good father. You're not a good father. You're not a good husband. You're not here. I don't want any of this crap. We just want you here. And talk about deflated. That was the most deflated, I think, still to this day, I've ever been in my life. I even get choked up talking about it. When you think that you're doing something so great for your family and you're so jaded in your mindset that, it's money and you have to, buy everything you need to buy. And it's because of the place I came from. I came from this place where we didn't have it. So that was my sign of success. So at that point, I didn't know what else to do. And I figured, what do I do now? This is what I know how to do. Either what do I do? Go back and get a job 9 to 5, and then I can't live the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to living now, and I'll be miserable. Or how do I make money? Is when I really know how to flip. So I went back to the original. What started? We talked about making $600 a month for my first deal. How much money do I really need to live my life? The lifestyle I want to live. Do I need to make millions of dollars a year to live the lifestyle I want, or can I stop buying all these crazy things and live a lifestyle where what am I chasing? And when I talk to people at events and when I speak at events or when I work with my mentees at events, when I coach them, first thing I always go backwards. I say, okay, what are your goals? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I can guarantee you almost every one of us, I'm going to say 95+% of the people are in this real estate game because they want to earn time with their family, right? They want their husband, wife, partner to stop working. They want to put their kids through college. They want to give their family a legacy. But the actions are not speaking to our vision. Our vision says, I want freedom, right? So why are you out there flipping all these houses? Why are you chasing all these shiny object syndromes? Why are you wholesaling? Why would you wholesale deals? Wholesaling deals is transactional. Now, I understand people do it to start out, to get money, but do it to get that money, not to buy cars and not to show off on Facebook. Go put that money into passive wealth. activities like turnkey, like rental properties, like seller financing, like being a lender. But ultimately with me, I said, you know, I have a certain amount of years I want to do this, and then I want to slow down maybe. So I needed to I couldn't just do private lending and that's it, because when you get paid back as a private lender, you're out of a deal. I needed to build a portfolio up. So I went back to doing what I know how to do. And he says, I'm going to go out and build rental properties in emerging markets, good quality markets, not low-end properties, good Class B to C+ areas in emerging markets. And I'm going to do this over and over and over again. Now, I was just spoke in San Francisco, and the funny thing is out there was over 300 people. They weren't that interested because it was only like $300 or $400 a door. It didn't mean anything to those guys out there that flip properties to make $150,000 to $250,000 a flip. But Bay Area is coming down, and they're going to find themselves in trouble in the next year or two. Well, I told people, I said, it's not sexy. I said, well, if I tell you I can make you $300 or $400 a month, is that sexy? Most people are like, it's pay a bill. But do it 600 plus times. It gets pretty damn sexy. And that's what we were able to do from about 2010 to about now. We have about 637 doors on our portfolio, either rentals or notes right now. And we just keep adding, 10 to 15 properties every 2 to 3 months. And some we sell for cash, some we sell and sell financing to investors, some we keep. It doesn't matter to us. But what we don't do is we don't chase things that don't meet our vision. That's the most important thing. And that's really what we got. And we're totally blessed to be able to do this. And I tell people, it's like, don't worry about how many doors I have. I always say, they're like, how do I get to that many doors? And I'm like, one door at a time. Just one door at a time. That's how you do it. You start one. And if you learn how to raise money the right way, and that's why we teach it, you could do this. If you have to use hard money to do this, it's not going to work the same way. You have to learn how to raise your own money. And that's what drives me insane. When people come to an event, they hear me speak about what we do. They love what we do. They see I'm doing it. I'm open book. They see my portfolio. They know I do it. They know I walk the walk. But they're not willing to go out there and learn how to raise their own money. Maybe because they have to pay a few $100s to buy a training to learn the right way. And I'm sorry, but if I had to invest money in you and you didn't learn the right way, would I really want to invest with you? And how are you protecting your investors?
Yeah. I mean, everything you just said there is right on. You took a lot of the words right out of my mouth, because passive income is where it's at. I mean, over the last 2 years, I've learned this lesson. Flipping is a job. I mean, it's, you don't get into real estate to have another job. Your ultimate goal is to get the freedom, right? And so your family was seeking not the money, they were seeking time with you. That was their that was their money. That was their form of currency, was time with the father of the family. And, if that's your ultimate goal, whether you're married, have kids or not, your ultimate goal is to have freedom of time to be able to do the things you want to do in this life. Freedom of time to be able to focus on, if you're just starting out in this game, do one flip, don't blow that money on something that isn't going to serve your business going forward. Find ways that you can start to become the bank. Exactly like Dan just said, that's our model. That's what we want to do. I hate flipping properties. I mean, I honestly would rather keep as many of our properties as we can for income. That's our goal. And unfortunately, sometimes you just get an offer and it's good and you take it. But income is the ultimate goal. It's the passive income that buys all that freedom that we want. So, and make no mistake, like I said earlier, you're going to put in 10,000 hours is really sort of the benchmark of what it's going to take. You've heard that, you're a New York guy, you've heard this before. What's the quickest way to get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. It's the same exact thing in this business. You have to perfection, mastery of all the skills that are needed in this business, whether it's negotiation, whether it is hiring and training people, all these things you have to get very, very good at that they don't really teach you in the most of these shiny courses that you can buy. So if you want reality and you want to know, all right, this is what you can cheat in this business by copying somebody like Dan. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can go and say, all right, here's a guy that owns 1,000 doors. Dan, show me exactly how you did it. And then you can model it. Modeling is like, you and I are both big Tony Robbins guys. Modeling is the fastest way to mastery that you will ever get. There's no new ideas. Like literally, there are so few new ideas that it's amazing. Everything has almost already been thought of. So why not just go and say, here's the guy that's getting it done. Let me copy that and make it my own. Here's the guy that's getting it done. So,
and what's so cool, with us is that we're actually out there.
Copy that and make it my own.
Yeah. What's so cool with that is I think
you and I, like I said, are both Tony Robbins guys. Can you talk about, some of your mindset strategies and what you do? Do you have like a daily routine that you go through, to get yourself ready and to deal with the ups and downs of any kind of business or your day?
Well, I do. I definitely do some personal development. I listen to a lot of personal development stuff. I think we both listen to maybe some of the same people. But I try to keep myself. I plan my day a little bit better now than I used to. I try to get myself around people, like-minded people like yourself and other people in the industry that I kind of stay focused on what I'm doing. I keep the noise away from myself. A lot of it, I've been trying to do this a lot. I've been trying to pause people on Facebook, because on Facebook you'll have a lot of smoke out there. And what I find on social, even when I mentor somebody now, right? I learned this from Martin Sands too. He says, and it's great. He goes, I don't let my mentees even on Facebook for the first 30 days because there's so much noise on there, right? There's so much fake stuff going on Facebook. You can be anything you want on Facebook, right? On social media.
Yeah.
You put up a camera, you can say I'm a millionaire, you can say I do all these deals. But the problem is you don't realize what that's doing to people on the other end, right? And I try to, and I've been out there and I'm trying not to say that I do this or do that, because I want people to realize that they can do it. And it's not about me, it's about them, right? How can I help them get to that next level? How can I help them realize, and it's not even a real thing, how can I help them realize what's important to them, what's prosperity for them? And that's why the book is called, for me, Passive Income, right? It's Properous, right? So passive income has led to the prosperous lifestyle that I have. And what is prosperity to somebody else? And why do I do that? I do it because I want to earn, I want to have the lifestyle. I want to have the time and the freedom to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, anytime I want. So I spend my day, I try to speak to at least one person that I value in the business at least once a day. And I really try to keep the smoke off my screen. And when I say that, I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook reading everyone's junk. If somebody's negative, I get rid of them. I try to help. I don't look at people as profits. I look at them as relationships, And somebody taught me something called the masters of asses, and that you only really need 6. Get rid of the masters of asses in your life. I can't even coin the term because it was not mine, but I love it. But you only need 6 really good people in your life, and I'm not talking about friends and family. I'm talking about in the business world. 6 really good people in your life that are like-minded, that will never go on, and they'll listen to what you say, and they'll give you honest opinion on how you could do things and how you could break through those barriers, because we all have that. And I have mentors in my life. I spend 6 figures a year in mentorship myself. Between my mentors and going to events, I spend over 6 figures a year. So I invest in myself. So what do I do? And how can I help other people get to that level? And that's what I actually truly love doing. So I hope that helps them,
Awesome. So we've spent almost 45 minutes and we've not talked about anything about deals, right? We're talking history, we're talking mindset, because all these things are extremely important. If you're going to make it in this business, if you don't have the right mindset, you don't have the right attitude and the right, you're not set right with your family and the way things are going there, none of it's going to work. It's not going to give you what you want out of it. So now I want to get into some meat and potatoes here. I want to talk to you about a couple of things that you talked about in your book. First one is emerging markets and turnkey rentals. So one of your biggest strategies is picking up, properties in emerging markets and, creating these turnkey rentals. Why did you begin focusing on this area?
Because I wanted to be in an area where I wasn't dependent on the economy and cyclical markets. So I didn't want the highs and the lows in the market. I'm not looking to hedge the market anymore. I want to have a steady business, steady growth in my business. And I had a goal to get to a certain level of income. And the only way to do that is to not worry about the economy. So like I said, I've been through 3 market cycles already. And I wanted to make sure that, an automaker, when Michigan lost all their automakers, there was no housing there, right? When the Bay Area in San Francisco lost all those when the .com bubble burst, they lost all the job growth there. So I wanted steady jobs, good quality companies, education, great infrastructure, companies moving in the area. So if you look at companies like Amazon, FedEx, UPS, Cleveland Clinic, you have NASA Space Station, you have a couple auto dealerships, automakers like Mercedes and Hyundai plants. You have Publix outlets over there in Alabama. You have Lockheed Martin. You have University of Alabama, Birmingham. You have the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland. You have Fortune 100 companies moving into Dayton. I know that there's always going to be a need for housing. No matter what happens in the economy, there's always going to be a need for housing. And what I look for is I try to stay in the class A- is the highest I go. And usually it's a B+ to a C+ lowest I go area. I don't even go into C or C-, because I want good quality tenants, pride of ownership in the houses. They take care of them. If I give them a nice house, they take care of those houses. So usually single family homes, husband, wife working, or single mother, single father with kids, little ranchers or capes, where there's a 1-to-1 ratio. When I say that, house is worth $100,000, I want the rent to be about $1,000. House worth $85,000, I want the rent to be about $850. So think about it. In different parts of the world here, or United States, I should say, what kind of house can you get for $85,000, $75,000? Can you get something in a Class B to C area? Or I know where I live, for a house $85,000, I'm in a Class D neighborhood, and it's gang-related, drugs, guns. So I don't want to own in those, okay? So I look to buy in those areas. So emerging markets, that's a big part of the emerging markets. And you can do your research on why the market is emerging. You can look at things like all the publications that are out there. You can look at Economic Development Corp. You can look at the Chamber of Commerce. You can look at permits and filings, see what companies are coming there. And if you just read the newspaper, you kind of see what's going on. I mean, we saw that Amazon just opened up in Virginia, or they're opening up in Virginia. They're opening up in Queens, New York. Those markets don't work because the economics don't work for me. But listen, if Amazon's going there, it's a pretty good market. Things like that, infrastructure, highways being put in, how close is to a major city, what jobs are there? You know, a job's going to close up. Cleveland Clinic's one of the biggest medical institutions in the United States. Are they going to close up tomorrow and you're going to lose all your tenants? And the other thing is when the housing market crashes or it corrects itself and banks stop lending, well, our business goes up, right? Because we have seller financing. You know, I know you're a big seller financing owner-occupied guy. I was owner-occupied years ago, and when the markets, when Dodd-Frank and CFPB jumped in, said, you know what, I'm not going to let them hurt my business. I'm going to jump into the investor side of it. So less than 2% of my portfolio now, about 2% is owner-occupied. The rest for me is non-owner-occupied. I also have the ability to sell multiple properties to my investors because a lot of them come in with, let's say, $100,000. And let's say I take $25,000 down on each property. I could sell them now $400,000 properties, right? So I help them build their net worth. I help them build their wealth. I help them build their legacy. So I'm not just doing this to make money. I'm doing this to help the people I work with.
Yeah. So what are some of the specific, you gave some great nuggets there. I mean, as far as where to find data on economic development and, you know, what is going in an emerging market. Are there specific things that you look for, like around a property that you're going to buy? Like, I know Greg Cardone, if he's looking at a multifamily apartment complex, he's like, if there's a Starbucks around the corner, I'm buying. There's a great chance I'm buying it because that's a good neighborhood. For you, I mean, in these anywhere from a A- to a C+ type property class, are there certain characteristics that you're like, all right, I can see a radius here. This is what's around. Are there certain things you look for?
Well, it depends on the area. I look for Costco's, I look for Whole Foods, Wegmans in the higher end areas. I'll look for things if I see like Bell Bonds, you know, these Church's Fried Chicken or Kennedy Fried Chickens, those type of things. They usually are in lower end areas. But not necessarily. What I do look for is I look for new development, right? If I see a lot of brand new development and I'm buying houses in older type houses, I'll be very cognizant of about that because I don't want to compete with brand new developments, because why would somebody rent my house out when they go to a brand new one for the same price? So I look at that too. I don't want like big tracts of new homes around where I'm buying, but I don't necessarily look at, I'll look at certain things, like if I see bail bonds and all that around the block, that's a good telltale sign that I'm in probably a low end area. But being that I'm buying B2C areas, I like the Starbucks, but Whole Foods and Wegmans, those type of things are going to be in your A-class areas, and I'm not really buying much in A-class areas because of the economics.
Right on. So another thing you do is you run your own fund. And so a lot of the questions, the two main questions that I get is, how do I get started and where do I get money to fund my deals, right? So that's, I think, the challenge for anybody that's getting started in real estate. You have the analysis paralysis of just jumping in, and then you're saying, okay, I'm ready to take action, but how do I get this deal funded? Can you talk about, some of the things that makes a person fundable? So if they're looking to get a deal done, not just the property, it's the person too that you're looking at, saying, okay, is this person, going to do what they say they're going to do? You talk about this in your book, and as far as strategies to raising private money. But can you give a couple of tidbits there as far as what exactly makes a person fundable?
Sure, that's a great question. And like you said, it's not so much even the deal; it's the person. That's the first thing I look at. Is forget about how much money I can make on a deal by funding somebody. Is this person trustworthy? Have they done their due diligence? Right, that's the most important thing for me: trustworthy, and have they done their due diligence? Are they willing to put their own money in a deal if they have it? And what are they offering? Here's what we look for, and that's why we put out the training on how to raise all that money, right? It used to be called How to Raise $1 Million in More 90 Days or Less. And now it's basically raise all the money you need for all your deals through our raising capital training. And what we look for, here's what happens. People come to me and they say, well, I want money from you. And not one time, I see it today, till today, I see it all the time. Never do people give me a full package. And when I realized how easy it was to get money, just giving an investor a full package. And the full package is things like your loan application, your history. If you don't have a history, if you're new, who are you working with that's going to protect my money? So am I working with Ben Fredericks to help me buy these assets? And he's my mentor on this deal. Like, I'm going to raise money and I'm going to partner with Ben to buy 30 assets from the bank. I know Ben's done, 3,000 deals or whatever it is, however many you've done. Well, I feel a little more comfortable, right? So tell me who's on your team. Give me your biography. Okay, why I should lend you money, what your plan is, who are your contractors, are they licensed, are they insured? If you're doing a fix and flip, what is the scope of work? Send me the scope of work. Send me a draw schedule that you worked out with your contractors so I know my money's protected. So if you hand it to your contractors, I know that they're not going to run off with it because the work's going to get done. Show me that you did true comps in an area, right? Don't just say, hey, the property's worth this. Show me that you did true comps, whether that be an appraisal or a realtor with 3 comps in an area in the last 6 months. Show me that your plan, do a workout on your plan. Show me a spreadsheet of how much this is going to cost. I want to see that you've done all your numbers, and I want to see what your plan is, and I want to see how you're going to protect my money. What documents are you going to give me? Are you going to record the mortgage? Are you looking to so the 5 documents I talk about and I give people in my training is the mortgage, and nobody does this. This is what I give them: the mortgage, the note, the personal guarantee, a confession of judgment, and assignment of rent. Yeah, those are the 5 documents. And in certain states, you could actually do a deed in lieu at the closing. If you tell me, hey, this is who I am, this is my biography, this is who my mentor is, because I haven't done any deals yet. So I'm working with Ben Fredericks or Dan Zitofsky because I haven't done any deals. I'm bringing them in as a partner to help me. Like collateral, I'm going to give you title insurance. I'm going to give you homeowners insurance. I'm giving you everything. If you could show me that and the deal makes sense for me, there's no reason I wouldn't fund you. And then what you have to do is, once you get funded on that deal, you have to stay in constant communication with your lender in the beginning. Okay? Give them their money back when you planned on giving them their money back. If you lose money in the deal, take it out of your pocket. Make sure you make them whole. Okay? Don't ever not make an investor whole. Okay? Because you can lose money, they can't. Okay, they trusted you. You could lose, even though you tell them you could lose money on this deal. It's spelled out in your fund. You could lose money on this deal. Don't ever let an investor lose money on a deal, because all they have to do is lose money one time, and they'll never fund you again. And they'll tell everyone else not to fund you again, whether it's their fault or not. I know a lot of people have lost money on deals that they go in their own pocket and they pay those investors back. Always pay your. I've never lost an investor a dollar. And anybody in this business that tells you they haven't lost money themselves is lying to you, or they're not in it long enough. Because you will lose money in this business. I can promise you that. I'm sure Ben. I'm sure you can agree to that. That you've lost money on deals. I know I have.
Yeah.
And more than I care to share, but I have. And that's
if you're not losing money, you're not doing enough deals.
Exactly. You're going to, and that's what I said. It's the roadblock, right? You have to understand you're going to hit that roadblock. You're going to get over it. You're going to learn what not to do next time. So why don't I buy in Class D areas anymore together? Because on paper it looks really good, but it never happens. The fruition never comes through, right? The tenants don't stay long enough. They don't get. They wreck your properties. So I learned. Let's make less money on paper. Let's do this consistently and steadily. Okay. So those are the things we show you how to package up an investor presentation. We show you how to package it up and present it to investors. We also show people how to do investor meetings, how to have meetings with accredited investors. They come to you and they sit through your meetings, and how to present deals to them, how to present you to them, how to sell you to them, where I have not asked for money. In fact, I was just in San Francisco. I told you a week and a half ago, speaking at 3 events. All I was speaking about was teaching them how to raise money, teaching these people how to go out and how to create wealth and raise money. And in that presentation, I did a PowerPoint showing people what I do to raise money. I didn't ask them for a dollar. I was just showing them, this is what I'm going to teach you, how you can go out and raise money. We had it committed to us over $4.1 million in those 3 days in San Francisco. So it's a great place to raise money. They don't want to do deals that aren't big for them, but they committed $4.1 million to me in business, in money. Now I have to go out and find deals if I want to use their money. But you see, I didn't ask for a dollar, and they committed $4.1 million. Now, when you go to these events, all these weekend events, and all these little, networking meetings, and I asked everybody. First thing I said, who here needs money? And everybody raises their hands. Why is every person not jumping on the training that we give them for next to nothing? Do they want money? Do they want somebody to just come and say, hey, I'm going to give you money? It's easy to get money sometimes from friends and family. Because let me tell you, as a 20-something-year-old kid, when I asked my friends and family for money, it was crickets. Nobody wanted to give me money. They told me I was nuts for what I was doing. So when you really get this business is when you have people calling you up and saying, hey, Ben, I want to fund your next deal, and you don't know them. That's when you created a business for yourself, a long-standing business. And as long as you take care of them, they'll never go anywhere else. I'm raising money out 6%. People are giving me money at 6%, sometimes 6, 7, 8, because I get a ton of money. So why should I pay people 10% anymore? Right? I want to take care of them, but now I can go into a lot less dangerous deals to try to get those high returns. I'm 6, 7, 8%. And the biggest thing is just take care of your investors, right? Treat them better than you treat yourself. And if you treat them better than you treat yourself, always, you come second, right? I always come second. They get paid back. Sometimes I don't get enough of a return. I want them to make a certain return on their money. I'll pay them out of my own pocket. I want to keep them happy. And that's what people, it's people before, my friend Matt says this, it's people before profits.
Right on. Our Instagram feed just cut off, so if you can, you can turn your computer audio back on. All right,
yeah,
cool.
Or Instagram just shut off.
That's all good. So let's talk a little bit about legacy. I want to wrap up here with you. I appreciate your time. So legacy is something we all kind of start thinking about as we get a little bit older, and I'm curious to hear, what you'd like yours to be at this point. I mean, you've done amazing work in building a huge portfolio for yourself. You got the money you want and you need. You could probably stop working today. You don't need to be doing what you're doing. I mean, are you working towards legacy at this point? What's your thought process there?
It's funny. I love that you asked me this, because I don't think we've ever spoken. I don't know if we have, but I don't think we've ever spoken about the legacy and why I get this question a lot, and it's a really important question, and it actually hurt. It was really tough back a couple of years ago. I got to the point where I hit my goals, and then I didn't know what to. I don't know if we talked about this or not, but I didn't know what to do with myself. Right, and I went through a little bit of a depression. Right, because I'm hitting my goals, and I'm like, what do I do with myself now? Like, do I just sit around and do nothing? Right, I still have a young kid in school. Right, so I can't really get up and travel the world the way I want right now. How am I a man? Like, what do I do in my business? Do I just stop? Or do I just do deals for the sense of doing deals, right? So my passion is truly educating, right? I love educating. I love changing people's lives, and not just on the how-tos, but the why-tos is most important for me. That's why I love the keynote type speaking on life. But it's changing people's life and educating them. So I see a big, and I think we spoke about this at the beginning, I see a big fall off where people are being taught, kids are being taught in schools, and they're not educated the right way. I think they're being educated that they become followers of the government, and the government wants you to become, wards of the state. They want you to need Social Security, and they want you to need Medicare and all that stuff. And I just think that people, even our parents' generation, don't know about this. So half the reason I did the training is because I have a lot of one-on-one mentors, and a lot of people can't afford for the one-on-one mentorship, or they're not the right fit for me because I'm very particular. I only take up to a certain amount per year on one-on-one mentorship, and I do it in 6 months at a time. And I figured, let me put this training together to help as many people as I possibly could. And then the money, and I don't tell a lot of people this, but the money I make, we do well in our business. Thank God we do. We're blessed. We have what we need. But what we're doing is, my goal is to put together $450,000 to build out a platform to teach financial literacy around the world to the youth. And every dollar I get from the courses, every dollar I get from the books, which in the books, you don't make a lot of money in books. You don't write books to make money. I'm not Stephen King or anything.
Right.
Your books is just so you can get that information out there for people that they can refer back to it. But every dollar we make from that or from our training goes into a pool that we have. And we're already at over 6 figures. We're at over $100,000, over $450,000 range, because we've already had it wireframed out. We know what we need to build. We're gonna have to change it. We're gonna have huge infrastructure on it. But that's my legacy. Is I want to be known as the person who actually educated youth around the world. And the only way I could do it is with training online. I'm gonna make it next to no money. The money that we charge people for it is almost going to be just to cover the servers and the infrastructure. That's it. And I'm going to keep pouring into it with experts in the industry to teach youth, not just in the United States, but around the world, how to get out of their situations or how to learn financial literacy a little bit better. And it's a humongous project we're taking on. And I figured in the next 3 to 4 years, it should be kind of up and running the right way. People have said, well, we could do this. I don't want to do it the wrong way. I don't like to do anything the wrong way. So that's my plan. That's my legacy, is to do that and to actually help as many people as I could help in this, get out of this situation. And whatever it is, whatever their situation is, I just want people to understand it doesn't have to be real estate, but I want people to understand, they could be insurance brokers, car dealers, dentists and doctors I deal with right now that are miserable in their life. They hate being doctors. They hate being dentists. They came into that field because they thought they were getting in the field to help people, and it became an insurance scam for them. And they're like, I make no money. I can't help people the way I want to help people because insurance got involved, and they want out. My biggest contingent of investors right now is dentists and doctors. They love working with us. They love, we just had a dentist 2 weeks ago, bought 4 turnkey rental properties. His goal is to put 10 in his name, 10 in his wife's name, and retire in the next 10 years. He wants to sell his practice and retire in the next 10 years. He says, I don't want to do this. And it's sad. He's in his mid-30s. He's not even a dentist, a little over 10 years maybe. So that's my legacy, is to help as many people as I possibly can help. And that's why I'm so adamant about people taking action. If they don't take action, I can't help them, right? So many people get in this business as like, let me dip my toe in the water, see if it works. Let me see if it's a get-rich-quick scheme. And I don't work with those people. If they think it's get-rich-quick, I'm not the right person for them. There's a million other people that'll sell you that stuff. I'm here to work with people who are steadily and they're going to steadily take action and do the business the right way. And if they do the business the right way, we can help. I know we can help everybody that takes, and my thing is, how do I get my voice out there? How do I get this out there to the masses? And that's what I'm learning how to do. And I'm willing, I'm not raising money for it. I'm literally I said, if I put this course out there, everything I sell will go into that. Outside of, our net expenses will come out, and everything net will go into that. And, that's a legacy that I want to build. I'm really looking forward to that. That's what I truly love to do, and just keep keynote speaking and love speaking and educating people one-on-one to help them out.
That's awesome, brother. If I could be a resource to you in any way, you let me know. I think you're totally right. There's no education on this stuff. I remember in one of my classes in high school, the only thing they taught us really about finances was how to balance a checkbook. I mean, it's a joke.
They don't teach that now. That's good. I always tell people when I teach these classes, first thing I say is go home and have your kid write you a $10 check and mail it to you. And let's see if they can write the check out. Let's see if they know how to sign their name. Let's see if they can put it in a check register. Let's see if they can mail it, use an envelope and address the envelope the right way. I can guarantee you most can't. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know a certain 20, 25, 26-year-old that didn't know how to do that. So anyway, I want to. So, do your kids have the real estate investing bug? You talk about legacy. Are they doing this thing too?
My son is very involved. Now he's actually just came to an event with me this week. You know, he's saved his money. They've all invested in real estate over the course of their life because I've been paying them since they're kids. And that's how their college is. My two oldest, that's how their college was paid for, investing in real estate. My little one loves it. She used to come out and be driving for dollars and looking at properties. So yeah, they have it. My oldest daughter's getting married this year, and her and her fiance want to buy a house, fix it up, you know, live in it for a year or two, house hack, and then sell it, do it again. And so they all have their bug in their own little way, which is really cool. But the ultimate goal is they all learn at least the fundamentals of economics. So they learn, you know, how do you know, what money mean, what credit cards mean, how to use a checkbook, how to pay their bills, how to budget. So they're all really good with that. That's, thank God. So whether they have the real estate bug or not, I think, you know, who knows? They might just be sitting around waiting for dad to pass everything off to them. Who knows?
Yeah. That's awesome, though. Yeah, I think we'll definitely talk another time. I'll have you back on the show to talk about the strategies that you have as far as employing your kids inside of the business and some of the amazing things you can really do with that. I'm at a point now where this year I'm going to be starting that with my daughter. I'm so excited for it. You know, she's getting birthday money. I'm like, all right, you're going to get your first house here any day. So, and she's 4 years old, and she's like, oh, I want to buy that house, or I want to buy that house. So that gives me
with the houses you get from the bank, very easy to put your kid into one of those.
Exactly. I mean, so it's awesome. So, anyway, so if you and you said something really interesting there about get rich quick, right? I tell people this all the time. Real estate is not get rich quick. It is get rich for sure. All right. That's really what the ultimate goal is. Right. So put your money in, put the time in, and it will come back to you. So just to wrap this up, I got a couple of audience questions I wanted to ask you. So these are usually the typical ones, and I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, if it's even relevant or not, this particular question. How do you see the real estate market for the next few years?
It depends what market you're in. That's a big one. And I hate to say it, I really don't care how the market is because I'm going to be okay. When the market goes down, I actually do better. When the market's up, I do pretty good. If you stay in an emerging market, if you stay in the right market and you don't play the cyclical game, you know, you don't hedge, you don't play it like a stock market where I'm going to buy it low, sell it high, play that game. Yeah. You're going to be fine. So I do see a correction coming in the next 12 to 18 months. But I've already seen it coming in higher end markets that spike, like San Francisco, Miami, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, LA. Those kind of markets, you're seeing softening, you're seeing longer days on the market, you're seeing price reductions. But to me, and I hate to say this, but I really don't care because it doesn't hurt me at all. I'm in an area where in 2006, 7, and 8, when the market corrected itself, I lost less than 5%. At that time, I owned about a little over $200. I lost less than 5% of value in my portfolio, but I kept a rolling 96% occupancy. So it didn't really affect me. And that's what I said when people get scared about the market. Yeah, if you're fixing and flipping in a certain market, yeah, you can get caught with your pants down in that market. And I've seen it happen. If you're lending 100% financing to people that are taking big risks, I could see it, you know, a lot of those deals going bust. I see a lot of private lenders getting hurt. That's what I do see happening in the next year. A lot of these lenders that go to REO groups and meetup groups, and they're lending money to people with no experience. And the people that with no experience aren't doing their due diligence. What happens when the market does correct itself and you wind up in a property on a fix and flip, you're going to lose $50,000 now instead of making $50,000. Those are the people who are just going to take off, and you're going to have to either foreclose on them or do a deed in lieu. So those are the people that are hurting the industry right now because they're not helping the people out there lending money to. They're hurting them because when we lend people money, if we say no, it's because it's not a good deal. Let's be honest. If we tell you no, it means it's not a good deal. It's a risky deal. And I'm not the type of person that likes to get involved in risky deals. Even though every deal is a risk, there's always a risk of losing your money. And if anyone tells you there's no risk, I always say you run, don't walk. Don't ever guarantee anything except that you'll mitigate that risk the best you possibly could. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think you made an important point there. If if let's say we're getting close to a recession here, if you want to learn how to work with private money people and raise capital, this is the best time to learn it, because people are still interested in lending money. But when recessions happen, what happens? People tighten up, right? And they're only going to lend to people at that particular point that they know, like, and trust, and that they say, hey, you've done well for me in the past. You've got your shit together. You know exactly what you need to do. You package everything up the way, I've always made money. Those people are going to be more gravitated towards than the people that are newbies trying to get, can I get in now? All right. So get your eggs in a row, because it is happening. It's coming at some point, right? We just don't know when, but get ready now, because this is when you do the preparation so you can create those relationships and start to build a foundation of success. Share with us, somebody asked, if you don't have much money to invest, what are the best deals you can do?
You can sell a finance. You can learn, no matter what, I'm going to say number one thing is learn how to raise money the right way. Because I think you and I both, Ben, we're constantly raising money. We have money to invest, and we're constantly raising money. You need to raise money the right way. You need to learn how to raise money. And that's the best possible thing I could tell you, because, once you learn how to raise money, it's game over for you. I mean, it's just how much money do you need to raise? At that point, you've probably heard, hey, find a great deal. The money's there. I truly believe, like, I'm at the point now where I was just in San Francisco and had $4.1 million basically committed to me if I have deals. And, and I tell people, I didn't offer anything, and I didn't give them a percentage, but I tell people I raise money at 6 to 8%, for as long as I need. I don't, no points, no nothing. Obviously, when I lend money, I charge points and stuff. But that's what I raise it at. So if you learn how to raise money, then you'll have money for everything you need. If you don't bring value, find a way. What can you do to bring value to somebody else, right? A lot of people in the industry want to be mentored, but they don't bring any value. And I always say give to get, right? I've always brought more value to somebody than I actually expected to get in return. And since I was so great at raising money, it used to be, hey, I'll raise money for your deals, bring good deals, and we partner together on them, right? But you always have to bring value to somebody. Figure out what you can do to somebody else that can raise money. And what is that you could do? You really need to do your due diligence. You really need to package a deal together. You really need to go out there and knock on doors and figure out a good deal, and then find somebody that's good at raising money. But what I would tell you to do in the beginning, if you knew, learn how to raise money. And that's why we put that course together. It's not expensive. Learn how to raise money the right way. I think Ben has the link. You can put it out there for the group. I think we even gave him a discount just for this group. Gets it. If you go online on your own, I think it's a lot more expensive now. But learn how to raise money. And that's what I look at. If you're going to bring me money or bring me a deal, I want to know you educated the right way on doing it. So, and if you learn how to do that, you'll have all the money you need. So,
absolutely awesome. Okay, and then let's see. If you were, hang on. What cities in the U.S. are the best to invest in right now? What are some of your favorite markets?
Well, I'll tell you my favorite. I'll tell you where I'm at, and I'll tell you others as well to give you a little head start. I'm in Dayton, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Memphis, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. Those are where I'm at right now, because I'm somebody who goes very deep. I don't go wide. All right, everybody will tell you, hey, they come to me all the time. Hey, this is a great deal in this market. It's a great deal in this market. But, I have teams in those markets, right? I have my project manager. I have property manager. I have contractors. I have realtors. And I get enough deals. I just took down a week and a half ago 14 deals from Dayton, Ohio on a pool of 53 assets I looked at. I didn't want the rest of them because they were low end. So I just took the ones that fit me. So once I can't get more deals, then maybe I jump into another market. But you really have to learn what an emerging market is for you. But markets like Michigan right now are great. Indianapolis are great. Oklahoma City are great. Kansas City, St. Louis, great markets. Jacksonville, Florida, great market. But you've got to look at, I'm not going to tell you what are great markets. I want you to do your own research, because you really need to do your due diligence and understand why those are good markets. What jobs are there? What companies are there? Who's coming there? what infrastructure is happening, what is the price point to rent range in the Class B to C area, what are taxes doing, what are schools doing, you know, look at crime stats and see where your properties are located. You know, if you're at a $90,000 property and it's in a high crime area, well, do you really want to be there? You know, so you got to do a little bit of due diligence. But I just gave you a bunch of markets. I think I rattled off 10, 15 markets that you could definitely. Columbus, Ohio, another great one. Cincinnati is another good one. And I'm basically saying, you know, East Coast to Midwest. I used to do a lot in Arizona and Vegas. I just don't want to have to get on and I don't go to these properties often, but I do want to go out into an area and build a team, and I don't want to get on a plane and have to go out to the West Coast that much.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. You put in a lot of time today. I appreciate you. Listen, if you follow me at all, you know I despise gurus. My friend here is not a guru, all right? This is a guy that's actually done it. He's done it very successfully. He cares. He's giving back. That's all about, you know, he talked heavily about legacy, what was important to him, and how he's, you know, using that to pay it forward. And I've learned in the short amount of time that we've known each other, I think it's probably going on 2 years now, but I've learned a tremendous amount that's helped my business. So I'm telling you right now, the course that he's offering to you today is worth its weight in gold, because it helped me to raise for our business. It helped us raise over $2 million this year. And it's been a game changer when you have private money. So when you figure out how to do it and do it in a right way, it's amazing. So you can put your trust in Dan and know it's gonna work if you do the work behind it. So you got to take massive action, right? If you're looking for overnight success, don't do it. He ain't your guy, and it's not going to work out. So he does private coaching on turnkey rentals. I'm sure he can talk to you more about that. If you want to visit him online, you can find Dan. Tell everybody where we can find you on social. Is it all just at Dan Zitofsky? No,
the best thing to do is go to our group page, is Become a Real Estate Investor with Dan Zitofsky on Facebook. And make sure you answer the 3 questions. I think the 3 questions are, you know, how'd you find out about us? What do you need most help with? And your email address. If you don't answer those, it's like a test. If you're not going to answer those, we delete you. Just so you know, the group is organically grown pretty large. And we probably remove close to 30 people a week. If they try to go in there and post anything or pitch you or take advantage of you, we knock them out of the group, because there's a lot of groups out there that, you know, are doing that. And the only reason we started this is because we're trying to cut through the noise in the industry. We love people coming on there, like, you know, Ben coming on there, answering questions about seller financing. So attorneys coming on there asking legal questions, accountants coming on there answering, you know, tax questions without doing it to actually get business out of it. A lot of people only go into groups if they're willing to get business out of it. But, you know, Ben has been on my group multiple times, answering questions for people just to help them out. And that's what I want in that group. I want a give to get type thing. I don't want anyone going in there saying, hey, sign up for my course. Hey, fund my deal. Hey, buy my deal. There's a million other groups for that. So this is really an organic group that, you know, we want you in there asking questions. If you're an expert on anything, it could be insurance. Don't say, hey, come to me for insurance. Just actually give answers. Hey, did you know that you need this about insurance? You need this on your property insurance. You need this for, you know, casualty. People will see your. I tell you this, just a lesson. When my business blew up years ago, I realized I better stop selling. I better just start giving content to people, and I love it so much more because I hate sales. I hate selling. I like just providing content and value to people. And I always call it like a boxing match. You have to like jab, jab, uppercut. So content, sell. Content, sell. Don't go in groups and just sell, because you look like, you know, used car salesman. And not to say anything bad about that, but that's what that group is. So we put everything in there. Unfortunately, if you friend me on Facebook, it's really tough because every week we have to delete like 200 people because we're at 5. They have that 5,000 friends thing, which I think is ridiculous. I wish they would just let you increase it. I'd pay to increase it. Because when we speak at an event, everyone goes to my page personally, and they want to friend me. And I keep hitting the limit. So now I'm taking people off that we haven't spoke to in a while, and I feel bad taking people off. So if you go to a group page, Become a Real Estate Investor with Dan Zitofsky, that's a free page. We don't charge for that page to be on. We do have paid pages for our students, but this is a free page that we keep it pretty clean, and we put out we try to put out as much content as we could. You'll see Ben on there. You'll be on there answering. I see you all the time answering questions for people. And that's what we love. We love industry experts answering and giving back and giving content, because that's why people are on it. You know, that's what we're looking for. But to get on there, you got to answer those 3 questions. Otherwise, my marketing guy just deletes you, and that's it.
All right, man. Well, hey, Dan, are you going to be speaking anywhere anytime soon?
Actually, I will be in Florida next week. I'm speaking at IMN in Fort Lauderdale on Thursday. And then I'll be out at DME, Distressed Mortgage Expo, in February or March. I'll be out there. I'll also be in San Diego around the same time. I'm out at I'll be at Funnel Hacking, not speaking, but there in Nashville, Tennessee. So I am in Fort Lauderdale next week. If anyone's out there, feel free to hit me up. I might even have some time on Monday for a little mini mastermind before my mastermind on Tuesday and Wednesday I'm doing. And then I'll be speaking in, I think in April, we'll be in Tampa speaking again. We just finished something this weekend, but I'll be speaking in Tampa in April. So, but stay tuned. If you're on that page, you'll see posts about all our speaking events coming up.
Awesome, man. Well, brother, I appreciate you so much. I thank you for coming on. We talked for 90 minutes. I knew it was just going to be like talking to an old friend. So yeah. I just wanted to let it roll, because the stuff you drop is always gold. And I'm so appreciative. If you are going to be at the 10X Growth Conference in Miami this weekend, send me a DM. I would love to meet you. I'm really excited for that. And then I will be in Newport Beach, California. I think we're just going to miss each other, man. I'm going out for the Noteworthy Conference. Yeah, so I'm joining the ranks of my man, Dan Zitofsky. I'm going to be speaking on stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm terrified.
Oh, man, I got to figure out how to get out there and see you. I love it. That's awesome. Thanks for having me on, and I appreciate it. I love what you're doing. I mean, keep giving that value you're giving, and you're one of the rock stars. So
my pleasure, brother. And if you guys want to pick up Dan's course, it is in the links below. You can also find his Facebook group, which I highly recommend, and Dan's book as well. You can pick that up on Amazon. The link is also in the comments, or will be in the show notes on YouTube. So thanks, brother. Enjoy your trip down here to sunny Florida. I know it's going to be a welcome change of weather for sure.
Can't wait. Thanks so much. It was great talking to you.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.